This is Absolutely Essendon, the Bombers YouTube fan channel, following a club that somehow makes more headlines in September without finals than most teams do in them. Andrew Welsh takes over as president and a new high-performance team's on board. So, with any luck, next year's injury list won't look like Gallipoli on a bad day. And then there's Zach Merritt. Will he go? Will he stay, or just keep us dangling like a forward 50 entry? Let's get to work. Alrighty, thank you for tuning in. That is the season done and dusted. And we're back in the studio, so perfect timing, as always, for us. But you've got Brisbane, who managed to get the back-to-back flag, the elusive back-to-back, overcoming the Cats, and in a well, not really a boil over, but let's just say it was the upset. The Cats were the hot favourites, so that's done and dusted. But we're here though to talk Essendon news, and really, like most of the channels, making Essendon content, well, it's a tricky business because it has a shorter shelf life than a J-Lo marriage.
Well, firstly, great to be back in the Absolutely Essendon HQ after a forced absence, and I've got to tell you, I was getting pretty tired of doing those terrible Zoom calls, and thank you for everybody who watched through that period. It wasn't the best production quality going around, but the news doesn't sleep, does it? So
no. Thank you for persevering with us. We don't really like it.
No, you can't kind of get the whatever it is that we do.
Well, it's hard to interrupt and talk over each other, on Zoom. That's which is what we do best.
Right. Okay. Well, I was thinking of something else, but
right.
Mind.
Okay.
But fascinating couple of weeks, and it just never stops. And when you think you've reached the bottom of the hill, the bottom of the pit, whatever the bottom we've reached, there's deeper. And we thought we'd seen the worst with Merritt having his dalliance with Sam Mitchell and partners, that dinner party, that unforgettable evening. I wonder if they played Twister after that, or a board game or
Cluedo.
something. Cluedo.
Yeah.
Break out something,
well, it sounded very chummy, didn't it? It's very, very, very cosy because it was all about family, wasn't it?
It was. Well, I don't know if it was about family for him. That was, I think, Sam Mitchell's wife's become the secret weapon. And we're not speaking ill of Sam Mitchell's beautiful wife. She's a lovely lady, but she's clearly very persuasive.
I don't
think
know.
Every time they want to play her, they bring her out. But anyway,
I think that's media.
So that's happened,
mate.
And of course, we had David Barham.
We did as we were uploading.
Pull a strand of hair to one side and say, "I'm done, boys."
And that was as we were uploading our last episode. That news. Well, there was the first news of rumblings came out, and I've got to say, as much as we did have a bit of a dig in our last episode, I must say he relinquished the role. I think our last episode was on the Sunday. He relinquished the role first thing on the Tuesday morning, the morning after the Brownlow, and I've got to say respect.
Total.
He didn't make it go to an ugly, extraordinary general meeting. He didn't
a UGM, a UEGM,
or whatever it is. He didn't drag it out. I think he saw the writing on the wall. Maybe he got a tap on the shoulder, but respect for just making the call, because the fact is, in his mind, he did everything he could over the last 3 years, right or wrong, whatever it is. That was probably his opinion, but he saw enough to say, well, I think it's time. Don't you think?
I agree. All respect to David Barham, and I think heartfelt thanks for his contribution to the club. No doubt he felt that he could make change, and he did. I think he made a lot of important changes to the structure of the club. The departures of people such as Xavier Campbell and Adrian Dodoro, the old school, I think, sort of heralding a new era with Craig Vozzo and Matt Rosa. The hiring of a new strength and conditioning team in response to the injury problems. And, I think at every step he's always had the best interests of the club at heart. It's not an easy job, and particularly at Essendon where you're being scrutinised constantly by the public and the media. And as you said in your intro, even during the finals, Essendon's more topical than the actual finals themselves. So thank you to David Barham, but I think he's done the right thing in the end.
Yeah, right. Well, so in we have Andrew Welsh, and we'll come to him, but he certainly seems at this stage to have widespread support. It would seem, but maybe that's for every president when they come in, right? Because everyone gets excited about fresh blood and what they can bring to the club. But
I will say, I don't know how. I think maybe Barry Capuano, was the last Essendon president who played for the football club.
Right.
I might be wrong. Someone can correct me, but it's certainly been a long time since we've had a former player. And I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing, but I think what it does do is it brings sort of an immediate sort of an alignment of purpose, being an ex-player. And I think to just sort of touch on the email that was sent around immediately following Andrew Welsh's appointment.
Yes, and apparently that was by Dean Solomon, apparently, that just asking everyone to unite, and I think it was sent to over 300 past players.
365, I think.
Oh, was it? Yeah, roughly.
One for every day of the year.
Right, which was a nice thing to do, and apparently then they had an event.
I'll tell you what, the way we've been turning over the list in the last few years, that would have probably just taken in the last 4 years of players. That lot.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, seriously.
Probably, yes. I think they had a bit of an event which went well, served some cheap Chardonnay, and everyone was quite upbeat in that event. Now, I was...
Although James Hird was not at that event.
Wasn't he?
No.
Is that right? Well, he's got too many media commitments these days.
Just saying.
Yeah,
not trying to provoke anything, just saying.
Yeah, all right, okay.
And surprisingly, I think Sheedy wasn't there for the... because that was a 2000 premiership reunion.
Yeah. Well...
25th anniversary, I think it was.
Right.
Yeah,
right. Is that what
I believe
what was
it
that?
Was, yeah. That was the
event?
gathering that they had
was
the
it?
other day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Pretty sure.
Well, I do remember the Richmond scenario, if you recall. I think there'd been a bit of bad blood after Kevin Bartlett was sort of unceremoniously sacked as coach, and I think he wouldn't sort of return to the club, and there was a bit of bad blood.
Yeah.
And I think it was Brendan Gale when he came in that sort of got everyone in and said, hey, let's work together. And whether there's anything in that or not, I don't know. That was obviously 4 or 5 years, I think, before they really turned things around, but they got the likes of Peggy O'Neill involved.
Yeah.
Look, it can't hurt. I'm not saying it necessarily changes everything overnight.
I'm a big fan of it. I think you can't turn your back on the past, and I think we've been a club often accused of living in past glories, but I don't think you can just slam the door on it. Getting the past players back into the fold, all united, all with one cause, one vision for the football club, supporting the current administration, supporting the players, I think is fantastic. For the first time in a long time, I feel like my club's come back. I really do.
There's, I don't know whether I'm imagining it, but I probably share that. And Andrew Welsh, as we, alluded to, I think in our last episode, he's sort of, he's younger, played for the club, as you just mentioned, and it just feels like a good fit.
Yeah, it does.
To take us to the next stage. He's had, some commercial success as well.
Yeah.
That never hurts when you're balancing the books. But, something that he said on Footy Classified that night struck me. And he said that, we're going to focus on being a football club first, which he said seems like a silly thing to say, but we've kind of felt over the last few years that maybe the focus has been elsewhere or a little too much elsewhere, maybe on the corporate side, maybe in other areas. So that to me is music to my ears.
I think, to be fair, David Barham was also a very strong supporter of that thinking. We've got to become a football club firstly and foremost. I think prior to that, under Brasher and Paul Little and others, and even under Xavier Campbell's sort of management, the club was very much a corporate entity. And that's the problem with the Hangar, honestly. I feel like the Hangar is a corporate head office. It's not a football club. But, Andrew Welsh has already indicated one of his priorities is to get the Bombers back to the MCG and playing football there where we should be. We're one of the biggest tickets in town. We can't be playing at Marvel as often as we are. I think for a few of the interstate games it makes sense. So he's saying all the right things very early. But of course, I think every new president tends to do that, and it's really now actions, isn't it? It's what happens going forward. And I'm interested to get your views on this, because he categorically came out and said Zach Merritt is going nowhere.
Yeah.
Now, is that a negotiating technique, or does he genuinely feel that? And is that the right thing for the club? I'd be interested in your thoughts.
Before I address that, someone made a really great comment in response to our last episode. I'm not sure if you saw it, but they were talking about when Justin Langer was interviewed for the role of coach for the Australian cricket team, and they asked him, and they said, how do you change the culture? And he said, you start winning. Once you start winning, that makes everything. I'm butchering it. Go back and have a look at it. But once you start winning, that helps a lot of things. And I love the simplicity of that.
Yeah, he got dumped out of the Australian cricket squad pretty unceremoniously.
I know you have to be negative, but he had a decent run there for a while.
JL,
so don't piss on it.
I don't think anyone liked him too much. But anyway, he did a good job.
Yeah, didn't he do a good job? Didn't he get some results?
It's a valid point. That's all that matters, is that winning changes everything. And when you're losing 13 games on the trot, half your squad's in the medical ward, and the media's all negative, it's hard to feel positive about the footy club. And I think the players clearly are carrying the burden of that, and certainly we're at the end of the season.
So yes,
winning is important.
Getting back to your question about Andrew Welsh's approach with the Merritt thing. So yes, I saw that, and I thought, I think it was that Tuesday morning. It was sort of.
It was on Footy Classified, I think.
And
he actually said it.
Yes, but even that morning, I think on the Essendon sort of channel, they asked, and he was he's not going. He's not going anywhere, which I thought, wow, that's a gutsy thing to do, because you just rewind 16 hours when Zach was interviewed at the Brownlow. That, to me, the things that he said, to me, reflected someone who, in the words of Kramer from Seinfeld, up here, I'm already gone. And it just, he talked about all the love that he was getting, but that was like a second prize. Do you know what I mean? It was, I'm gone. Yeah. So on the back of that, and it was interesting, there's that famous photo of Dave Barham whispering in his ear at the Brownlow. And his
wife looking like she had shooting daggers at him. Yeah.
Anyway, but it's quite interesting that Andrew Welsh has taken that approach, because that's gutsy as your first point of business, to be so adamant that he's not going anywhere. Yeah, it could very well be negotiating, or maybe this change with him coming in as president allows, in quotation marks, a world where Zach stays. Now, if you remember in the last episode, towards the end, I asked you, is there a world where he can stay on at the club? And you were quite adamant, no chance, forget it, Red Rover. Maybe that's still the case, but maybe the door is slightly open and this allows that to happen. What do you think?
Look, my view hasn't changed. I don't think Zach Merritt should stay, but I think Welsh is being smart in the sense that by insisting that he has two definite benefits. One being that if no deal can be done with Zach and he is forced to stay, it kind of opens the door for some sort of reconciliation. But at the same time, if the agreement between player and football club is that he's going, that they can now push harder for the best possible deal by putting that front out there to say to any potential suitors, whether it's Hawthorn or anyone else, you want him, you're going to have to pay for him. That to me is potentially the way, because otherwise he could end up having egg on his face within the first couple of weeks of his stewardship, because he's made that such a bold commitment that Zach's not going.
Yeah. No, well, I don't know. I'd like to think he's smarter than that, but maybe it is just pure negotiation.
Yeah. But your view is, should he stay or should he not stay? I mean, I don't think he should. What do you think?
I think that it could still work if he stays. Probably can't remain captain, but I think it could. Yes, I know it just seems inconceivable, but I've seen weirder and stranger things. And if Andrew Welsh got the inkling that there's not going to be a deal on the table that's going to anywhere near get to where they want to be, then he needs to start sowing the seeds for that.
Sure.
And I think that's what he's started, what he's doing. Yeah.
I've heard rumours this week that, I think it was, what's his manager's name, Petroro?
Yeah.
Has come out and said words to the effect that Zach's got more up his sleeve if things get a bit nasty. Now, that's not been confirmed. I've just heard a rumour that's been the discussion. I don't know what that means. Does it mean Zach's going to come out and has he got an ace up his sleeve to say, this is why I'm actually leaving the club? Is he going to take a sort of a passing shot at the football club as a way of making it utterly irreconcilable? So I don't know if you've heard anything around that.
I haven't. I'm just looking forward to his Crichton Medal speech because let's face it, it would be a massive upset if he didn't win.
Yeah, he's surely going to win it.
So he's probably going.
But that's the opportunity to say goodbye, isn't it?
Well, yes, or otherwise, or take a swing.
That's going to be fascinating.
Mate,
5 minutes, right? Let's hope he doesn't get pipped by somebody because you'd really want to see that speech.
Oh, the 2025 Nick Martin.
Matt
probably
Guelphy.
not.
Of course they're going to be looking through those votes going, how can we make this
what
work?
can we do? Yeah, exactly. That will be fascinating.
Yeah.
It will be fascinating.
But moving on from that decision, though, let's be clear about one thing. If Merritt goes, there's no way we can just take a pick 8 from Hawthorn, which is, I believe, what they're currently saying behind the scenes to Essendon is you can have pick 8, but that's it. We're not giving you anything more.
Right.
There's no way that Essendon will accept a single first-round pick for their captain, potentially 6-time best and fairest winner, 3-time All-Australian, our best player. Surely that is an unacceptable deal. And the market, the industry would laugh at Hawthorn, I think, if that's the best they could come up with. Here's the problem, though. I don't think they've got much more to offer. So you get the sense that if a deal's going to be done for Zach, it's going to have to involve another club. And I suspect that might be the Gold Coast.
Really?
I suspect the Gold Coast.
How so? How's that going to play
Well,
out?
I mean, they've got academy players coming through. They need more sort of currency to sort of fend off any potential bids for those players. They might be happy to get rid of their first pick, which I think is it's in the top 10, I believe. So maybe, a couple of picks go from us and Hawthorn up to the Gold Coast. They send their first round pick back to us along with Hawthorn's 8, and that may be enough to get it done. There's been talk of a couple of players, potentially, I think Mackenzie from Hawthorn sort of being touted as a possible player exchange or at least a sweetener in the deal. But I don't know. It's not going to be a simple, straightforward trade, and we'll be finding out about that in the next couple of weeks when the trade period's underway. So
okay. That will be it will be fascinating to see how firm Essendon are when it comes down to it, or whether they just think it's happened.
They've got all the aces, right? He's on a contract. He can't go anywhere.
Yes, but he's not happy. And so if things...
Play for the VFL team then.
Yeah, okay. It'll just be interesting how the point of view that they take, if they really are hard-lined. And I hope they are.
Yeah, you would hope so. I mean, look, the opportunity to reset this footy club is current and alive. Zach could be influential in bringing a deal to the table that's really beneficial for us going forward, whatever that may be.
Okay. So
I'd feel uncomfortable keeping him and not taking advantage of his current market value.
Yeah, okay. All right. So speaking of the New World Order then, Ridley, he was apparently, talking to Brisbane, or had expressed a desire to go to Brisbane, whether he did it the right way and let the club know first. But he has been convinced to stay. Are you buying that story that he's been sold the dream and...
I mean, honestly, who do you believe? I can only comment on what you hear and everyone else hears in the media, and the word is that he had a session with the new strength and conditioning guys, Matthew Innes and David Rogan.
Rogan, is it?
And they've convinced him that there's a new regime that's going to fix his body.
Right.
And he's apparently gone, fine, I'm buying into that. I don't know. Is that true or not? Let's be honest. It's not like Brisbane are going to be falling over themselves to get him. I don't think they're under any pressure whatsoever to be going, oh, gosh, we can't afford to miss out on Jordan Ridley when they've just won the grand final by 50 points. So, and will probably win the next couple with the team they've got. I think Ridley is likely to stay.
Yeah, okay.
I think. I mean, and I'm very pleased about that because if we can get him fit, it's a really significant upside for us.
Even an extra 6 games a year.
He's a good player.
That makes a difference.
I'm almost less concerned about Merritt going than Ridley, if that makes any sense at all. But
no sense whatsoever.
No, I didn't think so.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got Draper. So he's off. He's off to the Premiers.
Yeah. So Sam Draper, who's been a very contentious figure in our short history of broadcasting. It's not really broad. It's more narrowcasting.
Yeah. It's not broad. There's nothing broad about this.
But we got him here. And you might see that he's had his feet removed, and that was done deliberately, by the way. I don't know if he felt some pain in his ankles.
What are we going to do with that little totem? What should we do?
I think we take it out to the hangar and bury it.
Oh no, I
think we bury it under the Jack Jones Cafe somewhere.
I don't know about burying.
There's already enough ghosts haunting that place, I tell you. So why not add another one? But
let's go there and find a spot to leave it and just see.
It's like voodoo.
Yeah,
Sammy,
we do need to. Thank you.
That is going into the bin.
Thank you for your service.
And may we replace him with perhaps an Andy McGrath bobblehead. I mean, Andy McGrath's actual head is almost a bobblehead anyway. If you've had a close look.
Are you saying it's out of scale?
It's an impressive head. It's an impressive head.
It's a Tonight Show size head.
So Andy's been very vocal in the media lately, warming up, no doubt, for potentially the new captaincy position.
Taking over the... that will be interesting too.
Yeah, I think he'll do a good job if he does become captain. I know he's not the Humour Cluggage superstar we hoped he would be, but he's a damn decent human being.
Yeah.
I think the players love him, and I think he'll be a very good captain if he does get the gig. That's my view.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we shall find out soon enough. Now, talking about Trade Week that you touched on, do you listen to Trade Radio on SEN? Boy, those guys can really flesh out a deal.
Well, yeah, I mean they are really into they are breaking it down like the sort of theory of relativity, aren't they? You know, in terms of the formulas that are at
all
work.
the permutations and combinations. It's like that scene in Limitless where he's just seeing all those things on the ceiling. I remember when the Dylan Shield was the Bradley Cooper movie. Where he takes the pill.
I haven't seen that one.
That's a great
I'm thinking
movie.
A Beautiful Mind.
No. That's too old. That's too old a reference, mate. God. Limitless. You'll watch Limitless. It's a good movie.
Well.
It's a very good movie. Anyway, remember when the Dylan Shield deal was being done, they pulled that apart. They spent 3 hours one morning talking about all the different scenarios of how that deal could be done. It's definitely that time of the year.
Did you ever see the footage of Adrian Dodoro
yes.
taking the phone call from
yes.
Dylan Shield back?
Yes.
Oh, because you reminded me of it because it was just one of the most cringeworthy moments in the history of Adrian Dodoro's compilation album of cringeworthy moments.
It was just like, there was just so much. It was so much wrong with that,
mate.
Yeah.
G'day, Adrian.
Yeah.
I'm coming, and I'm also joining the football club. Lest we forget.
Anyway.
So the trade period is our peak delusion, I reckon.
Well, on that note, we've got a few players clogging the list cloggers, if you will. Have you had any insight, any epiphanies about which way either we need to go or probably will go?
Yeah, well, we had to get rid of at least 8 players from the list. I think pretty much all of them have gone.
No, hang on. Goldie.
Yeah, gone.
Yeah, you've got Oscar Smart.
Smarty's gone.
It's so hard on those young players.
That's unfair. But he got a taste. He had a
I know, but it's real. Like, you've got to perform. It's showtime.
Look, he was lucky to get it.
If you have an off night, I just feel for them anyway.
Jai.
Yep, Jai. Yes.
right.
Alwyn Davey Jr.
Thank you for your service.
So there's 4,
Yeah.
right?
Dylan Shield, gone.
Yeah, okay.
Jaden
fine.
Laverde.
Yeah, all 6.
Yeah, there's numbers going to catch up.
Yeah.
And Draper, of course, gone.
Did that?
Gone.
Is that, yeah, all right,
That's a list
okay.
spot
So
gone.
that's 7.
7, and maybe Merritt. There's your 8.
Don't we need more to?
Which would be a blessing for Benny Hobbs. I tell you what, no one's happier about Draper and Merritt leaving than Ben Hobbs because of me.
Oh, do you, so you reckon he's sort of, you know,
I think
he's texting Zach.
Yeah, go, mate, go.
Screw him, mate.
No,
Yes.
yeah, fuck him.
Yeah. Oh, I love Mitchell.
Right, but Benny Hobbs might actually be saved from the guillotine because of the departures of Draper and Merritt. Of course, the club never really wanted to have leave. But yeah, I think that's it. That'll give us the 8. That basically means we're back to the number we were before those mid-season draft picks came in, because they've all been re-signed. So
Right.
Blackiston, McMahon,
Yes.
May,
Yes.
those 3 have all been re-signed. May was already on an 18-month contract. So Blackiston and McMahon were given a 1-year extension. So that's great for those boys. Yeah, so I think we're kind of close, and that would leave us with 4 draft picks.
Right.
So if we take any more than 4 in the draft,
Yep.
we would have to release other players, and they may be released and then redrafted in the rookie draft or something like that.
Right, okay.
But I don't really know. Other than Hobbs, I'm not sure of anyone else's sort of immediate... Oh, did you say Goldstein? You did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Goldstein's gone as well.
Yeah. What about the likes of Setterfield? How firm is his spot? Because, you know, he was injured, but I still like him.
They're trade
when he's-
bait, right?
You think?
I
Yeah.
mean, you trade him out, someone comes in. You know, I think there's a like for like, or a player in, player out scenario that keeps it as at the net same.
Yeah.
But yeah, Setterfield. I think there's a couple of others that Guelphy. You've got to sort of wonder. I mean, Jones, Cox, these guys that are sort of very borderline at the moment.
Yeah.
I think Cox got a contract extension for next year anyway, as well as Jones, so they're probably on contract. But I don't know. I mean, it's going to be an interesting trade period because, let's be honest, who's going to be coming to Essendon? I mean, who I hear the Tracy from Fremantle is being pursued and might be sort of a backup for the loss of Draper if he comes across. But there's another injury-prone player. Do we really want that type of player?
Well, maybe under our new high performance team.
Who knows?
No longer medium
Yeah.
performance.
Yeah.
Maybe. They
So,
can turn things around.
other than that, I mean, we're not going to be attracting any sort of notable players, and I don't think we should be pursuing anyone of note at this point in time. We've got to go to the draft, get the young kids in, develop those players as best as possible, and then if there's some growth and development in the list over the course of the next 12 months, then we can go more aggressively to free agency and trade, because promising players will look at Essendon as being a little more destinational than perhaps what they are at the moment.
The old destination club.
I mean, that's my view. I think our trade period will be what we're going to be dealing with mainly, I think, is the Merritt deal. And, how do we trade up the draft picks that we currently have for potentially a better draft pick?
Yeah.
Maybe we package up some of these draft picks for, maybe West Coast's first or second draft.
Yeah, right.
Something like that. I think that will be the major activity for us.
Right. Are we a chance to get that Dersma brother?
Well, I think you'd have to have, at least the first or second draft pick, because he's certainly going to go at that level from what I'm hearing.
Right, so unlikely at this stage.
But, I think West Coast are very interested in that Cooper Duff Titler, so they might take him with pick 1, and maybe do a deal with us for pick 2.
Yeah, okay.
Let's see. But if we did get pick 2, I think Dersma would be a great pickup.
Lots to unfold.
Yeah.
So we ended the year with 6 wins, sure, cruelled by injuries. Looking ahead, get the crystal ball out. Or no, do you want to do this after the draft period? Do you want the benefit of that, but in the rearview mirror before you pick the number of victories you think we're looking
for sure.
at next year?
I think we've got a lot to get through in the next. When does the draft actually start? This Friday, isn't it? the free agency period. Anyway, it's coming up.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, so let's see what happens there. And of course, with the trade period. The draft itself is in November.
Yeah.
So there's a bit to get through before I think we can look at what the final list will be for 2026 and start to make some predictions around that. But so much of it's dependent on how players come back from injuries. We still have players that won't be on
ready
the field
for the pre-season.
till middle of next year. Nick Martin won't be doing anything for another 6 months. So, so there's still a bit of uncertainty around that. Nick Bryan coming back from an ACL. Tom Edwards coming back from an ACL. So, a lot of question marks around the list. But look, if we can just nail the draft this year, Matt Rose has got a lot of, as we've said, huge pressure on that man to get this draft right. It really is important.
Yeah. It's his time to shine.
It sure is.
So let's start wrapping this. This baby
before we
up.
do, I just wanted to.
What have you got?
Oh, I've got it.
Oh, yeah, geez, I forgot about those.
Caps here.
I forgot about those. Gosh, weren't these certainly divided.
They did.
They seem to divide more than we thought that they would. And I still don't quite.
It looks very smart on you, by
Does
the way.
it? I don't quite. Many people said, yep, definitely put me down for one.
Yeah.
Not that we've, created any yet. We wanted to just sort of, get a temperature check, and a temperature check we got.
Look,
some people got upset, and
they did.
Was that because do people sort of think that's our political leaning? Is that?
I suspect so, and if that's what they're thinking, they've missed the gag. Because you know what, couldn't give a toss about politics.
No.
And what I do care about though is the Essendon Football Club. So we were having a little fun, guys, right? So there's a few sort of screaming Nancys out there that were.
No, they were most upset.
The hand wringing of I'm done, I'm out. You were immature for doing something like this. In a world that we live in today, get over it. For God's sake, it's a bit of fun. If you've not watched this channel before, maybe you've missed out. We kind of take the piss. And that's what this is. This is a bit of fun. And I tell you what, though, they could be collector's items because I don't think we're going into a big print run on these. But I tell you what, if anyone's out there that, secretly wants to sort of walk around with a mega hat and take on the screaming Nancys out there,
but
by all means, let us know.
we certainly did not. Yes, no, there's no way a reflection of our political views.
Beautifully embroidered, absolutely.
It was, yeah. No, they're decent quality. They're decent quality.
Nice.
Yeah. And only people that expressed a desire to support the channel with a bit of merch. And it took us 3 years to get off our arse.
But they look fantastic.
We finally did, and
I reckon Snoop Dogg could do with one of these.
Let's get one to. Speaking of which,
yes.
we had our question marks over Snoop, but he got decent reviews for his performance, but
mate, he ain't no meatloaf. I'm telling you.
He got better reviews for his kicking of the football.
Yeah, kicked the ball really well. I'm surprised we haven't reached out to him as the new kicking coach. To be honest,
well,
he was taking banana check side kicks from the forward pocket at the MCG as if he's been doing it all his life.
That's quite incredible. Hats off to you, Snoop Dogg.
Maybe in the mean streets of East Central LA, they're doing a little kicking action around there. I don't know. Perhaps.
Yeah.
Is he straight out of Compton? Or?
Yeah. I don't know where he is, but I got to the bottom of why the AFL chose him, because you know that there's this series being made, I think, for Amazon Prime, based on this premiership year. And it's the same producers that did Drive to Survive, the Formula One series, for Netflix. And so I think the AFL are quite excited about it. And I think the decision was to go someone with a big following in the US, because they really want the series to do well and have that appeal in the US. And they felt like having him as part of the grand final entertainment would help to do so. I think
that's called clickbait, right?
That was, behavior bait, you call it. Yeah. That was, I think, the thinking behind having him. And look, and in the end, it didn't backfire. I mean, it's not my cup of tea, but
I didn't watch it, to be honest with you. I was
I only caught a little bit of it.
entrenched at the Royal Hotel in Dalesford.
Were you?
And
having a day spa?
having a little facial.
A body wrap?
And yeah, they didn't actually cross to the MCG until just before the ball was bounced. So
Right.
missed Snoop Dogg.
Well, I'm sure you can find it on the line.
Yeah, well, I'll have a look out for that.
Yeah, do that. All right, I think that's a wrap. I'm not sure when we'll be back for our
back
next
soon.
off-season
Very
ramblings,
soon,
you
yeah.
think, after
absolutely.
the trade
weeks
period?
next week.
All right, okay.
We'll be following it. We'll be the first, well, maybe not the first, but we'll be bringing the news at some point in time. I'm sure many of our other Essendon content creators have their finger on the trigger, ready to bring you the very latest news as soon as it drops.
Absolutely.
We tend to like to stew on it for a little while.
We do. We like it to ripen, as it were.
Yeah.
Like a nice sort of brown banana.
Lovely. I love a nice brown banana.
Great for smoothies. All right, that'll do.
Guys, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Appreciate
as
your
always.
time.
Hey, like, subscribe,
Why not?
hit that notification button, whatever you're supposed to say.
Unsubscribe if this doesn't do
Yes,
anything
if
for
you find this repulsive,
Yep.
then thank you.
Thank you.
For your time, and
Appreciate it.
we wish you the best.
Yep.
I think that'll.
I think
that'll do.
Anthony Albanese will not be buying one of these. I just get a feeling that he's not interested in that.
No.
But this might be huge in the White House.
Elon Musk might.
You never know your luck.
Yeah, Trumpy. Okay, all right, thanks
Thank
again.
you, guys.
See you soon.
Bye for now.
Bye for now. Bye.